Howdy folks, you're watching Deuce and Guns, and today we're going to talk about the turn signals and the emergency flashers. I've got one good turn signal, and unfortunately up front I've got one bad turn signal. I don't have a bulb for it yet because it's a 24 volt system. You can't go down to Walmart and buy that, so I'm going to have to order that, and that'll be a future video. But right now let's talk about the turn signals and how I fixed mine, because mine was broken, even more so than it is now. I've now brought you guys to the driver's seat here, and we can take a look at the controls for your turn signal and emergency flashers. It's right here, and it's a total aftermarket or afterthought, basically, because it is held on by a hose clamp. Look at that right there. That's just a standard basic hose clamp, and it's clamped onto the steering column. That's it. Nothing special about this thing. And there's all identifying features right there. If I can get that to focus, there we go. And right behind the turn signal control assembly is the light switch right back here. There's the emphasis light switch. I've got a video on that. But just like normal, this turn signal does not do anything without the light switch being turned on. Now you don't have to turn on the headlights, but you do have to unlock and then turn on the parking lights. And there we go. You got that blinking light there. So we have, it's just like your normal signal in your Toyota Tacoma or any kind of Ford F-150, any kind of vehicle right here. You push down and that gives you your left-hand turn signal. You push up, that gives you your right-hand turn signal. And there is no click, listen. There is no click there. You only have the visual indicator right there, and it doesn't tell you which way it's going, but it is going one direction or another. And now if you want to turn on the four-way flashers, say you're going really slow on an interstate or a highway or whatever, you can pull this little plunger right here. You pull that up and it goes one more step over, and there you have your four-way flashers. All four lights are blinking at that point, and that locks it up there. Now you want to go back down, it locks it out. So you have to pull out to go all the way up to your final four flasher position. Then you have right turn, left turn, and no turn. Two additional notes on the signal lever function. Number one is it is not self-canceling, so unless you move the lever back to center after you're done signaling, you're going to be signaling all the way to Albuquerque. You'll see here after a turn, I'm straightening out the wheel and I'm flicking the lever back to neutral, because there's nothing that drains the badass out of a truck more than driving around with the turn signal on. And number two is the four-way emergency flashers will stop when you put on your brakes. Now the turn signals will keep working, but the four-ways will stop, and that is by design and is normal. Now in reality, there's only three things, maybe four things, that can go wrong with this system. Number one, very simply, a bulb can burn out. That happens to the best of us. Bulbs burn out all the time. That's completely normal. You replace them, you move on with life, no problem. The flasher control assembly, the thing I just showed you inside, the lever, that can go wrong. There can be an internal short in that, but it is very, very rare. I personally have never heard of anyone having an issue with one, but it's a moving part with electronics in it. It can go wrong, but more than likely, it's not that either. But if you start up your Deuce and a half and you don't have any kind of turn signal ability, all of your turn signals stop working all at once, then you pretty much have two issues going on here. Number one, the most likely issue is you drop the ground. Your ground wire is no longer connected to your chassis. It happens all the time. If you have an electrical issue, electrical bug or gremlin with your Deuce and a half, then check your ground wire for whatever that system is, because that is a common issue with Deuce and a halves. The grounding is not that great in this vehicle. Number two is the flasher module, or basically it's the relay. It's the flasher relay that is underneath the hood. It's located in one of two positions. It's either against the firewall on the driver's side, or it's against the driver's side fender on the inside. It's one of those two places. I'll show you what it looks like. It is very different from your normal 24 volt or 12 volt flasher relay. Alrighty folks, I'm standing on the fender right now, and I've got my little handy cam here because I do not want to monkey around with my expensive heavy Canon on here while I'm basically jumping around up here. Now, by the way, look at that engine, that big old multi-fuel, there we go. So I'm on the passenger side, and there are your fuel filter or your oil filters. And over here right behind the heater, there's a heater, and right behind that, there is your flasher relay right there. And that is basically just bolted to the inner fender, and it has a proprietary plug. I'll show you that here in a second. there's a proprietary plug. It's got basically a 3-pin and a notch to align those pins, and that's all it is. And there's the often culprit right there. You see that little wire right there, center screen. That is the grounding wire that sometimes goes kaput. And some people will relocate this whole flasher unit on the firewall, which has a much better grounding setup. I have gone through and grounded the inner fender to the firewall in a much better way, so I don't have that issue. And it's much easier to get to right there. So if I need to change it out again, then it is easy to locate and take off and replace. Now you're probably asking yourself at this point, well, Deuce, why didn't you go ahead and build a 24-volt relay housing for all of us online and show us how to do it cheaply and easily? And I almost did. If you can do that, go ahead and do it on your own. You can figure it out. It's very, very simple. But I remembered that there are a lot of people who make their living online by collecting old parts for these old beasts. The 2.5 ton, the Deuce and a halves, the 5 tons, the Humvees, all those. They go to these military auction sites or government auction sites and bid on basically truckloads of just random junk that we will probably need eventually. And that's where these flasher relays come from. So if I can spend 50 bucks every couple of years, I don't know how long this relay lasts. A lot of them last forever and a day, and some of them don't last that long at all. You know, just like headlights. You never know how long it's going to last. But if I can spend 50 bucks here and there to basically keep some of these guys who deal in Deuce and a half parts alive and well and happy and continuing their business, then that's kind of a no-brainer for me and for anybody that's into car collecting and collecting old antique vehicles or anything antique. If you don't put a little bit of money into the system's not going to be there for you when you need it most. Well, guys, that's it for me today. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, give me a like and go subscribe. A lot more of this on the way. And if you have any comments, questions, or show ideas, leave that in the comment box below the video. And of course, you guys have a great day. See ya.
Thank you.